Hi guys, so I've already put on my basic hack highlight and contour, and now I'm just going to show you a few fun extras. I do have my lip and cheek on both my lips and my cheeks. I've put on a mix of plum and ruby, which I really like as a combo, but I'm feeling like I need a little bit more warmth, and so when that's the case, I like to add in bronzer. So here is my Bella bronzer right here. I like to wear that either on its own for a nice tanned look, and even I can achieve that and it doesn't look scary with Bella bronzer. It's fabulous. But I also really love Glow Illuminator. So I'd like to show you the difference between the two. I often like to mix them both to give myself kind of a dewy, glowy bronze. A lot of times I'll just go for a matte look with Bella, and sometimes I'll even only use Glow if I want a very subtle bronze. So I'm gonna show you that today, and then I'm gonna go into an eye look. So keep watching. So here's Glow. And Glow, actually, for somebody really pale like me, you could even get away with only using Glow instead of a bronzer. The bronzer is matte, it's satin, so it's like opaque, but it's a cream, so it will blend out really well. However, the illuminators are all sheer, right? So here is, for reference, here's Bella, okay? And here is Glow, okay? So when we spread out Bella, she will diffuse, but you're still gonna get that beautiful bronze. When you spread out Glow, it's transparent. So it's still nice and bronzy, but you can tell it's a lot more sheer, right? So especially in the winter time, if I don't want a really prominent bronzy look, then I will sometimes just use Glow on its own, and it will give a nice bronzy sheer effect with a little bit of dewiness rather than a matte look. And I kind of like that. I don't like the shimmery, sparkly bronzers that you can get. I just find them really, really unnatural, and I think they can look kind of gaudy, especially on me because I am really pale and kind of cool toned, and so it just doesn't look right. But Glow is sheer enough. It doesn't really have a shimmer or like a glitter, but it just has a bit of a glimmer to it, if that makes sense. So that kind of a dewy quality, just like all of the cream illuminators. And this is the darkest of all the cream illuminators. It definitely has more color than the other shades. And so if you got the Summer Glow kit, you would have gotten Bella and Glow. And I like to mix the two together a lot of times to kind of sheer out that Bella. But Bella is beautiful on its own. It's really, really nice too. And it just depends on how much of a tan you're really looking to achieve. This is nice and sheer. I like that. And Glow you can actually use like on your eyelids, on your lips. You saw me put that there. So if you have kind of a lighter lip color and you wanted to make it a little bit deeper, a little bit more bronzy, you can add that to it. And I really like Glow on the eyes too. I just think it's really nice. I think it's okay to just use Glow as a base. Look, I've got it all over my hand, but that's okay. Somebody's looking for me. I will just set my makeup with Vanilla Dust on my eyes, but I like to put a little bit of powder over top. I have hooded eyes, which means that the skin under my brows here, between my eyelid and my brows, hangs over my natural crease. So if you don't have hooded eyes, you'll have a nice defined crease back here. And you'll see that beautiful lid shape when your eyes are open. For me, I don't have a full hood where this will cover the entire lid, but it does cover the natural crease, right? So eye looks never look quite as amazing on me, I feel, as somebody with a nice big plump lid. I just love doing eye makeup on somebody that has that. And so you might feel like, if you have eyelids like me, you might feel like, what's wrong? How come I can't achieve these same eye looks that I see on Pinterest? And when I Google different eye looks, you know, I try to replicate it and I don't know why it's not working. It's probably just because you don't have the same amount of space and you don't have the same shape of lid, and that's okay. Everybody's got a different eye shape. And it doesn't mean that you can't achieve a beautiful eye look. It's also about accentuating your individual eyes, right? So I do love to play with eyeshadow. I just always feel like I would love to show you different looks on different people sometimes, because my eyes are different than your eyes probably. But I'll show you what I've got and we'll play with that. I'll show you some of the colors that I've been playing with lately that I've been really enjoying. This is a more neutral palette that I've got in here today. So this shade here is called Chai, and this is one of the newer ones. It's a very pretty neutral, and I like to use this as my base shade all over the eye, just as a nice smooth canvas. You can totally just use one shade on your eyes too. You don't have to use more than one ever if you don't want to. And I actually really like this one just by itself too. Okay, so if you are looking for just one color to sweep across the eye, there's so many beautiful choices. If you're looking for something that's going to complement your individual eye color, you can chat with me and we can talk about color theory. I love to do that. I can give you tons of recommendations where it's like it's really hard to narrow it down, but I'm very happy to chat with you about all that stuff. It's very fun for me. But if you want to play with a couple of different colors, there's a few different things you can do. So even if you have hooded eyes like me, notice that I created a larger workspace here by bringing this all the way up past my natural crease line, right up into my socket line and actually just above my socket line, okay? Because this skin that comes down, if I work under it, then what happens is this will create like a flat line across the top, so I won't end up having this nice curved shape that I've created that people that don't have a hood have. Instead, it will kind of look square, okay? And that's just because of the way that the skin fold is. So if you want to avoid that and you want a more rounded look, then just work above that, above the bone, and kind of up onto the bone space, if that makes sense. And just do a nice curve there. This is a great brush to create that, just a nice smooth surface. This is the smudge brush. And now I'm going to go out into the outer corner here and just kind of deepen up that crease line. So I'm going to use the shade Cafe. That's a newer, both Chai and Cafe are new shades. They're very nice. Good neutrals, so they're really beautiful on everybody. Just kind of tracing along then the outer edge. So I'm just kind of bringing this my bottom lash line here. Actually, I'll even go under my lash line a bit. And I'm going to trace that up and just go along this outer edge up into the corner that I created before and just pick up a little bit. So I don't want a lot of color up here, so it's really just focusing most of that darker shade along this edge and then just with what's left bringing it across. Okay, and I'm going to just feather that out with little tiny swirly motions with the fluffy end of my eyeshadow brush. Okay, and I'm going to do the same on this side. You always kind of want to try to mirror what you've done. So going back and forth is a good idea. Right up into there. And by the way, you could stop it here as well. That's also a nice look, kind of a pretty winged look. So you don't have to bring it up into this crease line if you don't want to. But that's the look I'm going for today. Just defining that crease. A little bit more of the fake crease, faux crease. I'm going to add some shimmer to give a little bit of fun drama now. So remember, you never want to apply too much makeup anywhere with anything. Like, you can always add more, but it's a lot harder to take it off and start again. Okay, so a little goes a long way. Just keep adding little bits. You'll notice I haven't been dipping in. I'm just using what's on my brush and just kind of feathering it out. And that's again why these double-ended brushes come in really handy. If you watch YouTube tutorials of ladies doing makeup, they usually have like 4 different brushes or more that they are going between. And with same, you really just, you can use 1 or 2 brushes. We only have 2 eyeshadow brushes that are made specifically for eyeshadow, and that's really all you need for these looks, which is great. It's a lot more economical and saves you time. Now I am going to go in, you can use your finger for this. I could do this later too at the end, but I find with these smoky looks, a lot of times you'll get that darker shade right in your socket line. And that's a look, especially if you want kind of that really intense smoldering smoky eye. But I actually like to go in and clean that up with my brightening highlight. And I'll use either my finger like I did before, or the small end of this multitasker brush. It really is a multitasker. I use it for so many different things. But I'll go in and apply a little bit of my brightening highlight. And see the difference when I do that. It really brightens up that waterline, especially if there's been some fallout in that area. And then it also gives the illusion of a larger eye. Because just like with any kind of contouring, right? The darker area underneath defines what's above it. So then all of a sudden, if this whole area is bright, then it gives that illusion when you're just looking at my overall face. The eyes are very prominent and the whites of my eyes appear bigger. You can also use a white, you could use a white pencil or a white eyeshadow. We have a beautiful white shimmery eyeshadow called Unicorn, which is gorgeous. I've used that before too if you want even more drama. But I find that the cream works really well, so I often will just do that. You can do that with the other side. So that's just a little trick to really exaggerate your eyes and make them the focal point of the face. You can bring it up into this corner as well. And actually, another thing you can do, you can break up your lash line here. So bring this highlight shade and bring it straight out here. You could see like it makes a big difference as well. It's kind of dramatic, breaks up your makeup a little bit, and really just kind of makes the eye appear even bigger, more open. So we can do that on this side too. A lot of times I'll save this part till the end, but there's no real rules for when you do it. Just going with the flow today. Now I'm gonna go back in with my, whatever's left on this brush of that cafe, and I'm just gonna smoke out that shadow underneath. Blending is really the key when it comes to any good eye look. You don't want any really harsh lines. So just keep on blending when in doubt. Then I'm going to go in with my shimmer. So I've got a couple of fun shimmers to work with today. I'll start with this one, which is one of my favorites for a dark shimmer. This is Rigoletto. And again, when I'm working with those light shades, it probably would have been best to do that at the end, but that's okay. I'm just going to trace over top of that where I had the line. I'm going across, and this is going to be like my liner. And I'm going to bring that just across the lash line. I'm tapping that excess off as much as I can because I don't want a bunch of eyeshadow falling down on my makeup. And if you are going to be playing with a lot of dark colors and you want to save yourself some headaches, it's often a good idea to actually do this before you do your foundation, because then you're not going to have to clean it up at all. It doesn't matter. You just clean it off with a cloth and then do your foundation, and that's it, right? Whereas with this, I might end up having to clean it up a little bit underneath, but that's okay. I'm not going anywhere tonight, so this is just for fun. Along that top lash line and focused a little more on that outer corner, just small swirling motions. Rigoletto is a gorgeous color. It's almost like a gunmetal brown, if that makes sense. Like mixing, if you can picture gunmetal, a little bit shimmery with like a dark brown. It's really gorgeous. Most of the shimmers you would think of as a lighter shimmer, but that one is a nice dark neutral and it's really pretty. So if you like a smoky eye, Rigoletto is just amazing. Especially if you don't necessarily want something as harsh as black, but you like the drama of a bit of a smoky eye. Now I'm gonna go in with Stardust. So that's this one here. Stardust is kind of like a cool green gold. And a lot of times I like to show the warm golds. So I was thinking I probably haven't really showcased a lot of Stardust, but it's a really gorgeous one as well. Goes well with all these colors. And I'm just kind of placing that right above the Rigoletto. So Rigoletto on the bottom, Stardust in the middle. I'm gonna just blend that out. Okay, and then lastly, I'm gonna go in with this new color called Riviera. It's really, really pretty, and I'm gonna just go in straight with my finger and just put that mainly in the inner corner into the middle. So I want high glam shimmer. Okay, and now I'm just gonna soften this upper edge a little bit, just diffuse that. And I think I might go in with a little bit more of my transition shade, which was Cafe. And just kind of deepen up this crease with that matte middle shade. So another thing you can do to just clean things up at the end is to use your foundation. So same thing that I did here, and this did get lost a little bit. You know, go in there with your brightening shade. You can also go in above it along the brow bone with your brightening shade, and that will just, it's like an easy magic eraser type of a cleanup. Kind of feels like cheating, but it works. So I don't have to worry too much about not having it look perfect as far as the shape and all that goes, because I know I can just clean it up at the end with my highlight, right? And then with this, just go in with that. Soften that up, and there we go. Then the last thing, this would look amazing with false lashes. So if you have those, if you already have extensions, or if you have some falsies that you like to wear, this would be a fun look for that. I don't have any on hand, and again, I'm not gonna really be keeping this on or anything like that, so I'm not gonna go in with that, but keep in mind that would be really fun. I'm just gonna go in with my mascara. So there you go, there's the mascara added. And when I do really dramatic looks like this, I always think, you know, it's kind of a time when you can go a little bolder with your brows, because your brows do really define the eyes, right? That's where this line brush comes in really handy. And the brow wax as well is a really great tool if you're wanting to have, like, kind of kick up your brow game. I just kind of go in and stamp this in with my line brush, and I'll kind of define where I want to have my brows. So think of it almost like microblading with makeup without the pain. And so, you know, you can kind of stamp it in here and sort of just give yourself a bit of a frame. I go in here. That's about as much as I can pull off, because that's the extent of where the natural hairs can grow. And then I bring that up. You don't want to go outside of the whole area where your natural brows grow, otherwise it's going to be really, really fake looking. This is about as bold as I could go with my brows. And, but kind of a nice bold brow can be a really fun look, especially when you're going really dramatic with your eyes. See the difference there? And I love this brush because you can kind of stamp it in. It's just about the right size to recreate those brow hairs. And then it's got a nice spoolie on the other end so you can feather it out. This shade that I'm using is Ash. That's the same shade that I used for my contour today. And so then I'm just gonna do the same thing for my other side. Just kind of create that frame. Get the width down first and then start filling it in. And up. And remember that your brows do not have to be identical, just have to be related. Fraternal is fine. What else? Oh, I was gonna talk about brow wax. So if you wanted them to, like if you wanna go even up a next level notch, you could use brow wax. And the best way to use that is with your line brush. Spray it with Stay Spray. You can also use water, but Stay Spray will keep it in place all day. And if you have some really rebellious brow hairs like me, especially if you have any amount of gray in your hair, I find that my brow hairs that are gray go completely the opposite direction to the rest of my hairs. And so I love the brow wax for that because it keeps them tame. So I go with the grain and just up because I like to give them a little bit of extra volume for a look like this, especially because I've taken my eyes up a lot. Like I've moved my crease line up. I'm going a little higher. I want a visible gap here, and I want my brows to be elevated a little bit more to kind of lift things up, give a little bit more space for the highlight on my brow bone. So I like a little bit more volume. I also like that this brow wax is going to really flick those hairs up. So when I am exaggerating the size of my brows and I'm bringing that up higher than they are naturally, if there's legitimate natural hairs sticking up with it, then it doesn't look fake because you're not going to see a makeup line there. You're just going to see nice bushy brows. Not everybody wants that, but it is definitely a trending thing right now to have those big voluminous brows. So if you're not blessed with those naturally, but you like that look, brow wax can be great for that. If you don't like that look and you don't want a really voluminous brow, brow wax is also really great for just grooming them in place. So instead of going up and out, you just go out and just smooth them into a nice fine line. And that works really well too. So you don't have to, you know, be on trend. You just do what you think looks best for your own face and what you're comfortable with, because that's what it's all about. It's just feeling your best, okay? Not trying to look like anybody else, just trying to look like yourself, and feel your best. Okay, so now that I've done such a dramatic eye, I feel like my lips are a little bold for my eye look that I ended up going with. So I could either soften my eye look with a little bit more of a shimmer on my eye, or I could mute my lips, or both. And so another last thing that I can do before I go here, I could use my Glamazing illuminator, which I don't think I've put any illuminator on my cheekbones yet. And I'm just gonna show you one more thing that you could do. This is gonna change my whole eye look completely. So instead of that gradient look that I was doing before, if you place that brightening highlight right in the center, Glamazing is like a spotlight. Like it's, if you pack it on there and concentrate it in that area, it's very bold and shimmery and very pretty. So you could do that, and you can see how that really changes the look. And then you just go in with your eyeshadow brush and you can feather it out on the sides. I'm still gonna deepen that crease. So you could just kind of, you know, emphasize that lash line with a little bit of dark color, but you can keep it a lot brighter and shimmerier And that's a different look. Still very dramatic, but not quite as dark. Okay, and so I'll do it with the other side. And that's really just kind of going right over the middle and keeping the outer corners darker from your eye. And then just emphasize that bottom lash line up into the outer crease. So still very dramatic, very fun, but a little less dark if you like that better. A couple options for you. Okay, and I'll show you glamazing along my cheekbones since we're playing with glamazing. Glamazing is a lot more of a pop when it comes to illuminators. So the cream illuminators that I was talking about before are very subtle and sheer, dewy, just give like a very gentle candlelit glow when your cheekbones hit the light. This is going to give a lot more of that glam, like wow factor pop. And then you can also, lastly, use it on your lips. So that will soften the color of your lips, but also give a pretty shimmer to your lips, which is really fun. Okay, so now it's like I ended up going with like rock star chic or something. Different than what I usually do, so hopefully that was fun to watch for anybody that joined me. And I am gonna add a little bit of that glamazing to my brow bone because I mentioned wanting a little bit of a lift, and that gives a fun shimmer as well to the brow bone. Emphasize that bushy brow that we created. There you go. So hopefully that was fun for everybody watching. If you would like to host a class, share some highlight and contouring tips with your friends, let me know. I'm booking August classes, and I wouldn't spend this long doing eyes or anything like that. I would show a live demo. We can chat while I'm doing it. It's kind of fun. You can show up in your PJs. You don't have to wear a bra. You can just hang out. It doesn't matter if your kids are screaming in the background because nobody hears it. It's still fun because you're socializing, but kind of from the comfort of your own home. So that's a really fun option. And my hostesses get majorly rewarded. If you like free makeup and you want a girls' night, let me know. All right, ladies, hope you have a great night, and I will talk to you later.